Now to the Middle East, where it appears a new ceasefire deal is in place. For more on that, let's go to CCTV's Jessica Stone, who joins us live from the White House. And Jessica, what can you tell us?
Elaine, details just breaking in the last few minutes. What we know is this ceasefire is expected to be 72 hours. It will begin on Friday, and it was just announced by U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in India. We also know that this is said to be an unconditional ceasefire between Hamas and Israel, but according to our sources, we are not hearing that the Israeli military has been informed and therefore has not stopped its activities in Gaza. According to a joint statement by the U.S. and the UN, they have gotten assurances that all parties to the conflict had agreed to an unconditional ceasefire during which there would be negotiations on a more durable truce. This has been the model that the U.S. and the United Nations have wanted to pursue: ceasefire first, then the negotiations on the underlying issues, especially this issue of the ongoing siege of Gaza and the underlying issues of occupation and other demands that the Palestinians have made throughout this. It remains to be seen if this can hold long enough to allow them to do this. Now, meantime, we have heard from the White House the strongest statements yet about that shelling of a United Nations shelter yesterday, in which at least 19 civilians were killed. When asked about whether or not the United States had an independent assessment as to what happened there, they relied on the United Nations investigation that was announced yesterday, saying that Israel and Israel's military are responsible, saying, quote, "There is little doubt who is responsible." Let's hear from the White House press secretary just a couple of hours ago.
It does not appear there's a lot of doubt about whose artillery was involved in this incident. That is why we have continued to urge Israeli military officials to live up to their high standards that they have set for the protection of innocent civilians. There is clearly more that can and should be done to ensure the safety of innocent civilians.
The spokesman going on to call this action indefensible and unacceptable. It does appear to demonstrate somewhat of a gap, a crack in the close relationship between the U.S. and Israel, which of course dates back to the 40s when the U.S. recognized the need for an Israeli state. And there has been ongoing support, of course, in U.S. foreign policy for Israel, which goes across party lines. That said, we also did hear another line we also frequently hear from the White House this afternoon, and that is that the White House maintains that it does support Israel's right to self-defense. Going forward, we'll of course have to see if that's met by any tangible action on the part of the United States. Back to you.
All right, Jessica Stone reporting live from the White House.